This episode of Doodle Talk is brought to you by Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 3D glasses. Please get your Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 3D glasses at a nearby store near you. Thanks, and back to your regularly scheduled content.
Ooh, what's up, all you doodles and doodlers out there, you schemers and dreamers? Welcome back to another episode of Doodle Talk. This is Doodle Talk episode 14. We're officially a teenager. We're getting a little angsty. Puberty's coming in, but things are good. Things are good, and we're getting older and we're learning day by day. Welcome back to the pod. If you notice, there might be a different kind of style, aesthetic change here. I'm trying out something a little bit different that's not just the looping background with the smaller box of me talking. I liked how the episode with Eric that I did, the way the overlays fit and we kind of fit on the screen. I just want to try this out. So let me know if you really love having the stuff playing in the background on the next to me talking. If that's just way better for you, let me know. But for now, I think this will make things a little bit easier for me, editing wise and stuff like that. So it's a conscious decision that I want to try out and just kind of streamline the process of making these videos a little bit more, because I love making them. I plan on continue making them, but sometimes I think having too many variables when you're creating like a weekly video or something like this, when you have too many variables that you have to do every single week, I think it can kind of add up time wise, and I just want to see if this helps or see if this is better just overall for like a podcast. You know, it's not necessarily just the main point isn't to show my art and stuff like that. It's to mostly talk, and I'll still have things coming up on the screen, and I'll have the chapters and the videos and everything like that. But let's try this. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't like it. Let me know if you don't care. And apologies for today if I sound a little stuffy and stuff. I've been dying a slow death by allergies for the past couple of weeks, and every year in Japan, it would hit me sometimes in the States as well, like the cedar, I think, right, in Austin was always crazy, but around Dallas I would get some just grass allergies and stuff. But god damn, is it crazy over here in Japan. Like, I'm taking medicine that I got from like the clinic, and then I'm also taking like copious amounts of just like generic antihistamine medicine that I've gotten from the States, and I have to in order to function, otherwise I'll just be dying. So apologies for that. I think I tried to record it while my voice wasn't sounding too ridiculous, but if you see a weird jump cut or something like that, it's probably because I had to sneeze or something like that. No, I haven't been crying either. It's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard out here for a pimp in Japan if you have allergies. But so yeah, I'm sorry about that. But getting into just kind of what I've been up to lately, besides dying from my allergies, is by the time this video comes out, I will have released my I've talked about this video before, but it's the Pokemon Memory Challenge video, and that should be posted by now. So please go check that out if you haven't. I'm really happy about this video. I'm proud of this video and the way it turned out, because it was like kind of like a one take kind of video with an intro that I put on the front of it, and I think it turned out really well. I had to set up a bunch of stuff in like OBS and which is like this like streaming software that I can also use to kind of like make a video with a bunch of different windows and stuff going on, and for those who don't know. But there was a lot of work planning for that video, and I think it turned out pretty well. And of course, there's like a bajillion things I wish I could just like change or fix. But I really just wanted to push that video out, and I want to make more videos like that. That's kind of where I had so much fun. Even editing it wasn't that hard, and like I had a lot of fun for that. So please go check that out, and let me know if you liked it, or if you want to see more. I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna do another Pokemon video like that, But I'm thinking of some other like kind of cool, fun challenge videos and stuff like that too. So those will be coming out, and just yeah, keep an eye out for them. But for now, I had a lot of fun doing that one, and I appreciate anyone who checked it out. And so let's jump over to the shout out of the day. Okay, so the shout out of the day today is someone that I discovered over the past year, I'd say, on Instagram, and her name is Mulan Fu, and she's this really cool, like director, freelance animator, illustrator person, and she makes a lot of, I think, especially like during COVID, kind of like started making a lot of these short little bite-sized animations that have just like either a little nice message attached to them, or like kind of like not like making a statement, but like cool ideas, like encompassing, like taking a thought or an idea and making a really cool little animation or something. And I'll try and have some of her stuff up here while I'm talking about it too. But yeah, go follow her on Instagram, check out her website, and she just started a new like little like animation studio called Fang's Animation, which like the word Fang is so cool to me. I'm not really sure why. I think it's like I love White Fang, the book, like growing up, and it's just so cool. I don't know. That's one of those I saw like Fang's Animation. I was like, that's one of those things you see like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Like that's so cool. Anything with Fang in it is just cool to me. But yeah, so it's like kind of a separate like animation project kind of thing that she's got going on. It's really cool. All of her characters that she makes are really cool, and the little animations that she makes are great. And she actually has a course, like a 2D animation course on a website called Colosso. It's kind of like Skillshare, or like those like I forgot. I mean, Skillshare is probably the most famous one, right? Where like people make courses and you sell them online. And it's called Storytelling Within Seconds, Creating Loop Animations. And it's really good. I actually bought the course. Those things, they go on sale a lot every now and then. So if you can't do the full price, just keep an eye on it and wait for a sale to happen. They normally go like, I think I got it like 40, 50, 60% off. Like they do a lot of really nice sales every now and then. So if you feel like you can't pay for it, just wait for one of those and then grab it. It was good. I especially for me, I really like making little looped animations too, so it was kind of like right up my alley. And I really like YouTube. You can go on YouTube, right, and you can learn so much about like animating. You can learn about making quick little looped animations. But sometimes it's so nice when somebody puts out a course like this, because it's like, even if it's not even the best quality of like, it's not like Netflix budget, someone sitting in a studio and like you got all the lights and like there's a crew of people and stuff. Like obviously I don't care if it's that well like produced, but the content is what matters to me, is what I'm trying to say. And it's really nice to hear someone like her like talk about her thought process, show you how she animates. And one of the things I really wanted to know is like how she does some of her like in-betweens, or like the spacing of frames for when you're doing a small looped animation is super important, because you know some of these looped animations are like 2 seconds, 3 seconds long, so you don't have a lot of frames to work with, even if you're working at like 24 frames per second, like the kind of standard for 2D animation, because a lot of the times you can go down to like 12 frames per second, so you're cutting it in half basically. So you don't have to draw as many frames, but you have to be careful because it can look choppy or not as smooth because you have less frames filling in everything. And just like sometimes you can be really smart about your placement, or how long you let one cell can last for like 6 frames or something, and that's going to give it a very long exposure for when the person is seeing it. And without getting into too many details here, I just wanted to see like how other people do it, because I don't have a lot of like, I don't have any like animation friends I can talk to and stuff. So yeah, as someone who is just kind of I learned basically everything self-taught and stuff, so it was really nice getting a little thing like that. If you're interested in something like that, which it's perfect, like the quick little looped animations and stuff is perfect for anyone who wants to do like Instagram content or on TikTok. So yeah, if you've ever been considering something like that, check her out. Mulan Fu, Fang's animation, super awesome, really inspiring. Someone I definitely kind of like look up to see like for like kind of like freelancing career path in art and how she sells her stuff online and just the she puts out so much stuff, like so many new little looped animations. It's really inspiring and kind of motivating. So please check her out. She's really awesome. And that's going to be it for the shout out of the day. Let's jump into the main topic. Okay, so today I want to talk about digital versus analog artist tools and a little bit about tablets. Mostly I have an iPad Pro that I use. That used to be what I made everything on, and recently I got this guy. This is an XP Pen Artist 22 second generation. It's just a drawing tablet here that I have on an arm, so I can work on a bigger screen here. And I got this recently, almost 2 months ago now. I've really been liking it, but it got me thinking kind of like, what tools do I use as a digital artist? Which ones are better? Because before I purchased this, I had done so much research on like, if I'm gonna get a bigger tablet, which one is it gonna be? Looking at a bunch of comparison videos, and I normally see there are people comparing iPad Pros or iPads to tablets, but I don't see that many, at least especially not with these two in particular. So I'm gonna have a video coming out on that soon. So yeah, look forward to that. But just in general, I don't want that to be the main focus for today's episode. I just wanted to kind of talk about some digital art tools that I use, some analog art tools that I still really love and use, and like kind of what it's like just going from starting out doing everything analog and then, you know, slowly over time switching to basically like 90% digital, I'd say. And probably like everything, 90% of what I make and like produce, like actual finished content, is probably digital. So what that's been like for me, and just my experiences, you know, over the years with that, and might give you some insight or some ideas if you're someone who struggles with like, if you want to become a digital artist, what tools do you need? Or like, if you want to stay strong, like if you want to just be analog, or like because I do a mix of both, right? Mostly digital, but I still do a lot of analog stuff. It just doesn't always end up being like going into the final product, right? So that's how I find a good balance with it. And to start off, I'll just kind of like go back to when I started getting back into art again around 2015, 2016. I had a MacBook back then, so I didn't have I could have gotten, I was thinking about getting one of those like Wacom the Intuos Pro, which is like, it's not the screen, it's just the tablet that you draw on like here while you're looking up at the screen. And that never really appealed to me, just because I like feel like I need to be looking directly at what I'm drawing. Some people can like do amazing work with those, and it honestly kind of like blows my mind, because I don't know how they have that like that connection of hand-eye coordination, because like I have good hand-eye coordination, but it's just like weird to me. I don't know. I've tried it a few times at like little demo things, and I don't think I could get used to it. So instead of that, and because at the time, I mean, so this is kind of crazy, but we're talking like 8 years ago. Oh my god, we're talking like 7-8 years ago. And at that time, you know, the digital like tablet market it's either like you get a Wacom, like a really, really expensive Wacom, or you just don't get like anything. Or like maybe you get the other brands hadn't really caught up at that point, and so you could get a cheap one. And like, if you're just starting out, that's not a bad thing at all. But I wasn't really super interested in that just yet, okay? And so I was doing like a lot of and because I had just gotten really into like Miyazaki and One Piece and stuff, so I was doing a lot of brought these over here. Why, like watercolors. So I was doing some watercolors, practicing with that, and a lot of Copic markers. These alcohol-based markers. Copics are the best. If you can afford them, get them. They're cheaper here in Japan, so I'm super lucky. But and if you slowly collect these over time, like they don't run out fast if you don't use them too often. So you can get a nice little like stash going, and you can see in the background I have all mine on that table over there. But yeah, I was doing mostly watercolors, mostly Copic markers, mostly pencil ink drawings and stuff, and so I created an animation. I'll see if I can get the footage and put it up here. It was my first animation that I ever made, and kind of what I consider to be like the catalyst for spurring me onto this path that I'm on now, and I'm so happy. And it's crazy looking back on this because so I've got really into animation. Like basically I'd always loved drawing and animation growing up, but something flipped a switch when I got really into Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki in my last like 2 years of going to university at UNT, and I was studying music at the time, but I started drawing and stuff again. I was doing composition over there, but I got, I don't know, just something flipped, and I was like doodling all the time again in my school notebooks and stuff, and I was dumb enough to like convince myself that I should make an animation. So I like saved up from working and bought a freaking light table, like a legit light table. I don't have it here. It's in America actually. Like, you know, like if unfortunately I didn't have the awesome desk that has like, you know, like you see Disney animators and stuff, they work on those like drafting tables where they have like the light in the middle and stuff like that. Of course I didn't have that. That was too expensive, but I got like a standalone light table that has the pegs at the I think these are at the bottom. I believe in Japan they mostly do it at the top. In America, Western style does it at the bottom. And I bought some animation paper, which is like pretty expensive. You wouldn't think it would be, but because you have to have like the peg holes in there and stuff. There's a lot of like nitty gritty details and stuff that goes into this. So if you're just on your own, it's kind of difficult to research and figure it out. But somehow I figured it all out. I got all that stuff, and then I had the the audacity to just like make some animations. And I had made this cool little illustration. I still have it. I have it here now actually. It's like the life cycle of a sunflower, because I was making this music piece called Himawari, which is sunflower in Japanese, and I was just super inspired by sunflowers at the time. So I was like drawing these little sketches, and I did like because it was the piece was actually like the kind of like inception of it was like the life cycle of a flower, of a sunflower, like the seed coming in, getting planted, the rain falling down, then coming up and like blooming into a sunflower. And that was kind of like the beats of the piece of music that I composed for that. And it used some really awesome Chinese instruments, the erhu, which is like the traditional like violin essentially from China, and the dizi. It's hard to say. I can't say like the actual proper way, but like the flute. Like in Japan, you have the shakuhachi, which is kind of the Japanese flute. The dizi is the, man, I haven't said that word in so long. Sorry. I think it's dizi. Dizi is a way you can say it that's like pretty okay, but there's a better way to say it. I forgot how, but it's like the Chinese flute. And fun fact, this piece, yeah, I won not a competition, but it got chosen to be entered into a festival, a music festival in Canada, in Vancouver, put on by this really awesome ensemble called the Sound of Dragon Ensemble. They're based out of Vancouver, and I got to fly up there with my dad in April of my last year of college. I had to like miss a recital. I was in a gamelan ensemble, which is like a percussion ensemble, and I had to like miss my recital. That teacher was so nice. That professor let me go, thank God. But yeah, it was awesome, and we got to see my piece get played there. So like sunflowers have a very special place in my heart. And to kind of loop this back, right? I made this illustration kind of like when I was still in like the brainstorming phase and like being really inspired. And I looked at, because I just drew it out, like essentially it's kind of like a storyboard, but just one like illustration. And I just decided like, oh, I should animate this. Let me try this, because for me, animating like organic things is easier than like people or like inorganic things. I've always had a natural tendency to be better with like just like blobs and like simple shapes and stuff like that. So long story short, right, because I'm kind of rambling here, I had my first experience of animating traditionally 2D animation with paper. It was about 200 frames, which I didn't need that many frames. I had no idea about like spacing and timing and stuff like that. I'm literally just like you know, it probably moves about a millimeter per frame. It's it's like that. This is for any of you Futurama fans out there. It's like when Fry, they recreate like the Ally McBeal like lawyer show or whatever, single female lawyer, and Fry writes the script for the, you know, the crewmates to read, and they read the page, and it ends, and they're like, Fry, what else did you write? He's like, I don't know, it took me an hour to write. I thought it would take an hour to read. And like, I think about that quote like so much, just because it's hilarious, but also like God, those writers were just so good on that show. Because it's so true. It's like, it almost like taps into this little thing of like, what you put in doesn't equal what you're gonna get out, and you have to like, you kind of have to learn that as you go, right? But again, sorry for digressing here. You know, I'm doing terrible job at like spacing and timing and all that stuff, and I finally get it, 200 freaking sheets of animation paper that I don't have, like, you can just scan shit on your phone now, like scan, like little scanning apps and stuff. But I had a scanner, luckily. I think I bought one. I'm scanning each page into my MacBook, and then I don't even remember what I used. I think I just like online, there's those like GIF generators. So I uploaded every page individually into this GIF generator thing. And created the sunflower animation. And I know I got it, so I'll try and definitely play it, because I've talked about it now for like 10 minutes, so that warrants me actually showing you guys what I'm actually talking about. And then, because what I did is I put that to the music for my music piece. And this is crazy. I guess this is really just like the inception of like what made me want to create like my style of like art that I do now. I always knew it was kind of the inception, but now that I'm thinking about it, like it really is. And I'm glad. This is a fun little story then, a little extra story time for this episode. So I put, like, for my senior recital, so the Sound of Dragon was amazing. I'm so grateful to them. They did an amazing performance after only rehearsing it for like a few times. I got to go to the rehearsal the day before and kind of like tweak some stuff and ask questions, and like, I don't know, man, that was one of the best experiences of my life, and I'm really like glad I got to do something like that. And so when I came back, and for my senior recital later that year, I had the animation play on a screen behind the musicians who were performing the piece again for me for my senior recital, with like just a little bit different instrument changes, and slightly altered. And that was the kind of like doing that, making the animation and making the music was like, oh my god, like this is awesome, because it checked all the boxes for my like creative things that I want to do. It's like I'm drawing stuff, I'm animating stuff, I'm making music, I'm working with people. It's like slightly collaborative process. It was just awesome. But the thing with the animation is, I did make one more after that, actually, for like this wasn't for a composition piece, but for like my side music that I would make on the side, kind of more singer-songwriter-y stuff. I made another little animation of like a girl, and like the wind kind of blows her hair, and like comes back, and it was like a short little loop like that. And that one was also pretty the sunflower one, I still kind of like parts of it, were actually like pretty well animated. The girl one is hard to watch now, I'm not gonna lie, but pretty decent for 2D animation, I guess. But so I did those two, right? And this is the whole reason I brought this up, is once I animated traditionally, I immediately knew, like, I cannot do this. I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't. It's so hard. It's so much work. And around this time is when I had already moved to Japan, and I'm looking. I have my MacBook, my old MacBook that I brought over. I'm looking at tablets. I'm kind of seeing, but again, at that time, it's like Wacom is like $1 million for like a 16-inch tablet or something like that, and there's all these cables. There's the HDMI, like 3-prong HDMI that you gotta plug in. And just at the time, I didn't want to, because for me, I was like, I knew my MacBook was dying, kind of. It was old. It was really old at that point, and I'd used it for so much stuff. It was kind of on its last legs. And I knew that I was living in like a studio apartment at the time, like super tiny. If you know Leo Palace apartments, then you know what I'm talking about. But then I saw like the iPad with Procreate, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. Like, I've always wanted an iPad, and now you can like get the pencil and you can draw. And so saved up some money, and I think for like Christmas one year, my like parents helped me pay for it, and I got an iPad Pro. So this must have, I want to say this is 2017. I'm sorry if it's not. It was like around December. So it was either 2016 or 2017. And I get this iPad Pro, and it's really weird. When you first start drawing on a screen, it's so weird, because I was used to just doing everything analog up until that point, because I was getting into making comics and stuff like that too. And I ran into the same wall of like, God, it's going to take so long to just draw everything out by hand. And, if you're working a full-time job, which I was at the time, and, still have this entire time, is all doing this on the side after, like, either working full-time or being a student full-time. So, like, you have to kind of see where you can be more productive with your time. And this is one of the biggest, most giant benefits of working digitally, is like the time saving factor is just like, I don't know, man, it's just crazy. Like, you lose some stuff when you go digital, that little twinkle in the eye of like the hand to paper magic and stuff. But here's the beautiful thing, is like you can do both, right? So let me get back to this. I'm working on my iPad, and I'm getting used to it. I'm really liking it. Procreate is pretty cool. I'm honestly still at that point, like, still practicing, and I'm, if I looked at most of that art from that time, I would cringe pretty hard. But, so I'm developing as an artist. I'm getting used to drawing on an iPad. And then let's skip a few years, because for a few years then, I'm got the Copic markers, and I'm making some like fun illustrations and stuff, but then for like comics and like bigger, and I'm also doing watercolors at that point too. I'm getting better at watercolor, and I'm switching. It's probably like 60-40% at that point, right? Digital to analog, mostly digital, 60% being digital. And then, sorry, let's skip ahead like 2 years, and 2 or 3 years. And I got a new iPad. I kind of upgraded to the like 2020 2019 model. I like swapped with my wife, basically. She didn't need she was okay with the lesser powerful one, so we bought a new one, and I kind of gave her that one, right? So luckily, because iPads are expensive, and iPad Pros are really expensive. I think, honestly, I feel like because with the new M1, M2 iPads, has gotten even more expensive, unfortunately. But when I bought those two, it's you're going $1,000+, which I know it's like, it's hard, right? If you're gonna complain about Wacom being expensive, you can't like then just go buy an iPad, right? Like, is that like hypocritical? And like, sure, I guess if you want to look at it that way, but the thing with an iPad is just like, it's grab and go, baby. This has everything in it. Because the other thing is, I found Clip Studio Paint, the software I use exclusively now for any digital art, and they have a iPad version for their app that works. Literally, it's 100% of the functionality of the original desktop version app. It's amazing. Like, I still am just like, thank you for making this. Because Photoshop tried to do a similar thing, and they roll out like the Photoshop version on the iPad is shit. It's terrible. It has like none of the functionalities. They tried to do what Procreate did, but ended up just like fucking up their own software and making it like not fun, not good to use for artists and stuff like that. Like taking away features that people would have wanted, trying to like simplify it by making it like easy to use, and like the UI, like the design of like the functionality of it and everything. I think they fucked up. They did a terrible job. They still haven't like released a full version of it. It's just like, it's just another thing to add on to my like Adobe hate train. Honestly, I'm kind of an Adobe hater, but we all know that at this point. But and yes, Adobe's good. Don't get me wrong. I like Photoshop's great. Illustrator's awesome. So many people use it. I just have my gripes. I have my problems with Adobe. And Celsius, the people who make Clip Studio Paint, they have done really good so far. They were rolling out a different kind of subscription thing for their main software, and fans, the consumers, everyone kind of got mad, and they were like, please don't do this, like do it this way. And they listened to what they had to say and like changed it to where it wasn't like a full change, but like the main points that people wanted them to change, they changed it. Okay, so like if you're a company and you do something like that, you just automatically are like, I already loved you as a company, as a product, and now it's just like, okay, that's ride or die. So that's how you get my loyalty. You know, if you want brand loyalty, you do shit like that, that's how you get it. Adobe, literally, it's just like people are forced to use it. It's kind of like Wacom. Adobe and Wacom are similar because it's like the industry standard, which it is. It's like, you can shit on Adobe, you can shit on Wacom. I don't really want to shit on Wacom. They're great, but they're just expensive. But everyone uses, they're so good, and people, it's the industry standard for a reason, right? Okay, so that's something you can't deny. So if you're going to complain about it, at least acknowledge that it's good, right? Sorry, lots of rambling on this one, but yeah, so I upgraded to another iPad Pro, and just also disclaimer, I also worked really hard and saved up money over long periods of time to buy any of these purchases, so please don't feel like I'm just like some rich person, because I'm not. I would save up, all of my money all year, and instead of like going out this one time or buying this other thing that I didn't really need, that would just go into a savings fund for like a computer or an iPad or something like that, because I recognized at that point that like this is more important to me than most things. So I'm gonna sacrifice, and maybe I'm not gonna go out with my friends that one time, or like I'm gonna stay in all month and not. You're already kind of broke as an English teacher, so I wasn't making a lot of money to begin with. But yeah, just want to make that little disclaimer there. And I because I understand if you don't have a lot of money, right? Like someone just being like, why don't you just get an iPad Pro? It's like, yeah, that's super shitty. So I don't want to just be like that. The good thing is though, like, you don't need an iPad Pro. I just wanted it for like future proofing, because I had one which I would have still been using for like up to like 5 or 6 years, and then got a fortunate opportunity to kind of like upgrade at a lower price because my wife wanted one, and we were like kind of swapping, and she didn't mind. And now I'm future proof from that, because now I've been using that one for like 4 years already, so it's like, to me, that's a good investment. And that's what all of these are. They're investments, right? If I really wanted the Wacom, I would have saved up for it and I would have gotten it, right? But to me, the iPad was enough. And this is kind of tying back into where I was going, like, so walking through the timeline, right? The iPad was enough, and I was using it. And then another year or so passes, and I'm starting to find my like style and like my like type of content that I like to make in art. I'm doing more animations. I wasn't really doing a lot of animations to begin with when I started doing digital. And one of the things with if you're doing animations is like you are just using more real estate on your screen. You have a timeline that's going to have all your frames. You're going to want to be able to like going back and forth between things. And this is when I finally decided, like, okay, I really want to get a tablet. I really like a bigger drawing tablet. And I was looking at some Wacom stuff, and this is now like 2020, 2021, right? And the beautiful thing here is two companies. So XP Pen, which is the one that I got, and Huion. Huion and XP Pen at this time are like making leaps and bounds of like improvements for every iteration, every model, every tablet that they're putting out. And like, shout out to like Brad Colbo. I think that's how you say his last name. He's like an artist and like tech reviewer for creative people who like does a ton of like tablet reviews, and he's really like straightforward and honest, and like just one of those people that you know you can kind of trust. So I would watch stuff from like his videos and stuff like that, and I started to see like, oh shit, like dude, you can get like a 16-inch tablet for like, I don't know, it's not the highest end, right, as far as specs and everything, but they're getting as cheap as like $300, $200, $300, $400, right, for a good one. Like it's not just like one that like gets you by, like it kind of was like in the past, where it was like, oh, you'll get by on that, but it's not good quality, so you're probably going to want to upgrade like pretty quickly after it. So finally hit this beautiful like point, right? Like the graph was like this, and then boom, like functionality and like specs met the price point that I wanted. And cut to this bad boy. So I bought this about a month or two ago, and the reason I pulled the trigger on it is because this thing is USB-C. It's one cable. There are no like 3-pronged HDMI to USB to like alternate like audio video input source and stuff like that. It's just a power cord and a USB-C cable that plugs right into my computer. And like that was like a huge thing for me, because like I said, like when I do any of these purchases, it's got to be future-proofed up to a certain point. And I had noticed like, dude, most computers, Mac or Windows nowadays, like most computers don't have a lot of USBs. They may not even have a HDMI port or something like that. So, you know, and like monitors, a lot of monitors are all USB-C. Like obviously you can get them if you want, but yeah, like, cause and the thing I knew too is like my iPad Pro is like 13-inch, like the actual screen size is like 12.9 or something. It's really close, right? It's like basically 13. And I was like, it's not gonna do me that well if I just get another 16, because I did find basically on like the Craigslist of Japan, Mercari, Mercari, they have it in America too, I think, but it's like eBay or Craigslist. I got a used Wacom Cintiq 16, just the regular kind, for about $300, which is really awesome. And I was using it for a while, but it was just like kind of a hassle to I just had it on the stand. It wasn't on an arm or anything, and it was kind of just like a hassle because there's so many cords, and like it wasn't that much bigger, because that one's kind of bulky. That one's pretty bulky, and like the screen isn't a full 16 inches. It's only 1080p. This one's only 1080p too, which means it's like just regular full HD. It's not 4K or QHD, like the mid 4K resolution or anything. But yeah, it was really unfortunate, because like I think I probably should have like given it more of a shot, but like I just found myself like, I'll just go back to the iPad, and like I could just do everything on there. It wasn't good enough, and that's when I decided like, okay, I need to go bigger, otherwise it's not going to be worth it, right? So this time I decided, let's go for the 22-inch, okay? Like, because there's like some 20 inches, some 22 inches. That was the range I was looking for. This is the XP Pen Artist 22 2nd generation, and this thing is awesome. I got the monitor arm just on Amazon. It's like an Amazon Basics. It's not even like the Ergotron, like the more expensive. It is like $100, but the other arms are like to 200 to 400 or whatever, and this one's really good so far. It's been like amazing, and that's something you need to invest a little bit of money in because it's holding up your equipment and stuff like that. You can't get something for a tablet like this, you cannot get something that's that like low quality. But the thing is too, this tablet's only like it was like 450 or 500 bucks, which is amazing for something like this. It's USB-C. I mean, I'm sorry, it's hard to kind of like show this, but I'll try and see if I can put some other like footage. But I mean, dude, look, I can put my whole arm on here and draw. It's like, it's so amazing. And it comes with the pen for it is good. You get the freaking glove. I know this is kind of a meme, but the thing is like it looks kind of silly. It really does. But this thing is a lifesaver, dude. Because when your shit gets like sweaty and stuff, and you're going on there, like you're drawing on the screen and stuff, it's so nice to have this. And I got this little shortcut key, which is another thing. Like the Wacom one of these is like 90 bucks. This one was like 20 or 30, like maybe even less. I honestly don't remember. But it's a little remote control, so you can like, I can zoom in or like increase, decrease brush size. I can switch between things. And then I have all my hotkeys, my shortcuts that I like to use mapped, custom mapped onto this thing. And I don't know, it's freaking amazing. I love it. It's so nice. So like when I just want to sit on the couch and draw, I can use the iPad. And when I want to like come and work on an animation like the Ocarina Link animation that I put out recently, I did that on this bad boy. That was like the first like big like thing that I did on here, and I mean it's just awesome. So like that was kind of me making my full switch over to digital, right? And like here's the thing is I mean I stay analog for a lot of like doodling and like brainstorming and sketching and stuff. Like you can see I have some sketchbooks in the back there. Those are all like in the morning when I sit down and just doodle and stuff. I like to doodle and like be loose and free. I like to do that on paper and then like come up with little sketches and stuff, or like little character kind of like stuff. Like this is Copic markers, and this is I really like to just like, this is how I come up with all my characters and stuff like that. I'll do iterations and like even just like little post-it notes, right? If it's like I'll save that for like I want to try that out as like a different thing for a character, right? Like I love just analog, just drawing on paper and stuff for that. But like if I'm gonna sit down and make a little looped animation or a little short animation, like I'm not gonna do that on analog. So like I kind of try and make it to where like if I like one thing in one way, like I kind of like coloring better in analog, like Copic markers and watercolor. I just feel like I'm just better at, like I can get better results with that analog, but I'm not better. This is what sucks, is like I'm better at like pencils and line work digital, at least for inking. Like I think I can get good pencil lines just analog better than even digital, but when it comes to like inking and actually putting down the pen layers and like the ink on top of the pencils, like digital is better for me. So it's kind of unfortunate. And sometimes I've done like mixed media kind of stuff where I've digitally drawn it out and then printed it and like watercolored on top, and it's been fun, but that takes a little bit more work. And if that's like the thing you want to do, then yeah, you can kind of just focus and hone in on that. But yeah, that's, I mean, and what, like if you work digital, like being able to erase, correct things, you can use like a transformation tool and like move things around. You can create a layer underneath, and then, you know, like it's digital is magic. Like that's kind of the way to look at it. And digital is expensive, but it's worth it because it's something you're basically using. If you're a professional artist or a freelancer who relies mostly on like artwork and stuff like that, it's your livelihood, you know? So it's like you have to save up for it, and you have to make those big purchases. Like, yeah, it's scary buying a computer, or it's scary buying an iPad, or like, you know, even $400 or $500 for this was like, that's not cheap, you know? But I saved up and like had some money saved up for the tablet that I wanted to buy. The thing is, you have to like plan long term, right? Because I'll save up for like a year and a half or 2 years or 3 years for things sometimes, just knowing that like I'm gonna buy this at some point, so let's start putting money aside for it and stuff like that. But like, you have to make some sacrifices and pay up sometimes in order to have the setup that you want or need, you know? Do I make like splurgy purchases and stuff like that? Yeah, sure. Do I buy stuff I shouldn't buy when I should be saving more money for something? Yeah, of course. I'm only human. But yeah, the great thing here is like, and this is what I want to stress, is like, you can get, like, check out XP Pen. If you're somebody who is like looking for a tablet on the market right now and you want to get into digital art, or you're like kind of already into digital art and you want to just like get something that might be better than what you currently have, check out XP Pen, because Huion is also really good, but they just tend to be a little bit higher price for about the same quality. The big thing is like they do a little bit more with like 4K screens and stuff like that. But my drawing experience on here on the XP Pen and on the iPad is like pretty comparable. It's like, not like, obviously there's no touch features on the XP Pen, so you're using shortcuts and stuff like that. But honestly, once you get used to it, there's benefits to that too, because when you're on the iPad, you have to like click. If I'm gonna, I gotta go to erase tool or whatever. You can create shortcuts for your iPad too, but I like to have kind of one hand holding it and then the other hand like kind of using both hands. So a shortcut on the iPad, a remote for the iPad wouldn't really work for me, I don't think. But there's also, you don't need an iPad Pro. There's like iPad Airs and like iPad minis and stuff that are actually decently priced. Like Apple sucks most of the time because they have super expensive stuff, but like if you find the right product, like if you got to get an Apple Pencil, right? So that does kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. But I mean, you can't just ship Apple Pencils with every single iPad, you know? Like, I don't blame them for not doing that. And yeah, like if you don't want to spend $1,000+, you can, I mean, some of the iPads are pretty cheap. Like if you're cool with getting a slightly smaller screen, then a couple hundred, you can get just a regular iPad and get the first gen, I think, like iPad Pencil. Especially if you just want to get something used. If you're not sure if you want to make the switch to digital, go get a used Wacom, like a Wacom 13 or a Wacom 1. Go get an XP Pen. You could buy a brand new XP Pen, like 16-inch, 13-inch for like just a couple $100. Or go find a cheap iPad or a refurbished iPad and get the iPad Pencil, the Apple Pencil with it, and test it out. Because I wanted to use my iPad for multiple things. That's why I bought the first one. And then once I decided, yes, this is good, this is what's right for me, I invested in the slightly better version, and now I have that, and I have the tablet. But this took like 7 years almost to like get to this point where I'm at now. And that's just kind of like what happens. So unless you just have a ton of like disposable income, be smart about it. Don't go out there and buy like a $3,000 Wacom if you're not sure if you want to be a digital artist or if you just want to like get some experience with it. Buy the cheaper thing, because like this is something I don't think a lot of people really mention in a lot of reviews and stuff, is like, if you're just starting out, you don't need the best thing. Like, you're not even going to be able to tell. When I first drew on the iPad Pro, it felt weird and kind of like gross, and like I didn't like it. I got like the film kind of like screen drawing screen protector thing, so it feels a little bit more natural when you're drawing. Like that really helped. And like, but what I'm saying is like it took time. Like even if you had given me a 40-inch like Wacom that's they have in like a animation studio in California or something, like I wouldn't have even been able to put that bad boy to use, you know what I mean? So like, don't feel like you're like, oh, I don't want to waste money on this cheaper thing. Like if you need to just try it out or get into digital art, like that's what you should do. Honestly, that's my like huge recommendation. And again, like if you're a beginner, just go for the cheaper budget option. If you're somebody who's like seriously looking at like getting professional stuff, like look at the higher end of XP Pen and Huion. Because so here's the thing, right? And shout outs to Ethan Becker, because he's just an OG for sure. Like he's so funny and like really, really talented, good artist who gives out great advice. And he has a video on YouTube where he went over like the like best budget options for drawing tablets in like 2021 or something. But it was also like the sad truth about Wacom. And the point he makes towards the end of the video is like, Wacom is the industry standard, and it's really good, and there's a reason why it's the industry standard. And unfortunately, like if you want to go work in a studio or have the same like workflow that like an animation professional industry standard animation studio is gonna have, you're gonna need to probably work your way up to a Wacom. Like that's just it. It's kind of like unfortunate, but it's kind of what you have to do, at least for now. Still for now, right? But if you're freelance, if you're an independent animator, illustrator, or something like that, like you're free. You're not tied down. You could use GIMP, like the free Photoshop software, on a freaking like off-brand shitty tablet, and if you're an amazing artist, you'll make it work. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I want to stress here. Um, I don't recommend doing that, but like, yeah, go get a budget XP pen, and use whatever software you have. The Procreate is amazing on iPad. I just like Clip Studio Paint better. And yeah, so that's basically it, right? Choose what's best for you, and don't be afraid to like go back and forth between analog, because you don't have to commit to one or the other fully, right? Do what makes you happy. Do what you want to do at the time. I go on binges where I'm like, God, I need to just like do some watercolor. I won't touch my iPad for a week, something like that. Or like I'll draw on the big boy and like not touch my iPad for a week, or I'll just want to do some character drawings and stuff, and I'll just do analog and Copic markers for a couple days and not touch any digital stuff at all. So yeah, that's my kind of rambly take on all of this. Sorry if it wasn't as coherent as normally, but I want to go a little bit. I kind of want to go a little bit looser with these podcasts and just kind of riff, and trying to keep them shorter, but that's not happening. I'm not doing a very good job at that. But I had fun going off on some of these tangents today, so I hope that helped you, give you some perspective. And if you are someone, because this is the main point of this one, I really want it to be for like if you're someone who's considering diving more into digital art, here's some things that I've learned from my 7-8 year experience of doing analog and digital, going back and forth, and now landing where I am now. And hopefully that'll give you some information you can use when deciding what you want to buy. And please check out the video, the comparison of the iPad and the XP pen when I put that out. It's going to be, trust me, a lot more concise. It's going to be just like a comparison video and going over what I like about both of them and which one's probably best for you if you're a digital artist. And so you get a little sneak peek of that here with some of my insights. But that video will be out soon, so please check that out when it does come out. And I will stop rambling now and let's finish the episode. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.